Excel Language School. A real passion for learning.
Hi, this is David again from the Excel Language School, and today we are going to talk about a Task 2 essay, a Task 2 IELTS essay. And you probably remember that Task 2 IELTS essay is the second of two essays you have to write on the IELTS writing section. It counts for 2/3 of your grade and should be 250 or maybe 260 words long. And you should use about 40 minutes to do this, and it should include both preparing beforehand and proofreading your essay afterwards. Okay, so let's get straight to the test question. The test question is, you have 40 minutes to answer this question. In some countries, an increasing number of people are using cards instead of cash. However, this payment will never be widely used in Vietnam. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, and the student got a band 6 score for me on this essay, and I thought that it was a good essay. It might even get a higher score under certain circumstances. Now, the student's first paragraph was very good. I did make a few corrections. On the second line, the student used the pronoun its, and sometimes when you use pronouns like that, it's not clear. What does it mean? So I suggested the student use a noun in the possessive form, cards, instead. And so lots of students like to use pronouns, but I tell my students, don't be afraid to repeat a noun if it makes 100% clear what you're referring to. Okay, and I especially like the next two sentences that the student wrote. The one that starts with, "It is argued that," and then the student ends the paragraph with a nice short sentences, 4 words, "This argument is flawed," and occasionally a nice short sentence like that can give your essay a little life. So don't be afraid to do a short sentence from time to time. Now, I thought the second paragraph was quite good as well, but there were some words, some high-level vocabulary words, that the student had a little problem with usage. And so I'm going to talk about those 2 words. And the first word I want to talk about is the word simultaneously. And now the word simultaneously, you may know it means at the exact same moment. And the student uses it here to talk about people using credit cards and cash simultaneously. But the word doesn't fit 100% because, for example, if you are buying a pair of trousers with a credit card, and then 5 minutes later you buy a pair of shoes with cash, you are not using them simultaneously. One action took place 5 minutes later. So we really don't use them because we don't use the word simultaneously because the actions really don't take place at the same time. And now the second word that the student had trouble with in this paragraph was the student tried to use the word proactive. Now, proactive is a word that means controlling a situation by causing something to happen rather than responding to it after it has happened. And now this is a very popular word, especially in business English, and it is an excellent word to know. But in this case, I believe that the student didn't use it correctly. Its meaning doesn't fit in the sentence very well. So I tried to suggest other words that the students could use, but it was difficult for me because I did not understand the student's meaning 100%. But I guessed that the student probably needed a word like enthusiastic or interested instead of proactive. Okay, now a few lines further down the essay, after that, I see the sort of mistake that I see my Vietnamese students making very often. And in this case, the student used the word Vietnameses, which is not a real word. That is, the student used the adjective Vietnamese, and then possessive S. And possessive S only goes on nouns and not on adjectives like Vietnamese. So if the student is talking about the economy, the student can say it two ways. The student can say the Vietnamese economy with the definite article, and that's okay. Or the student can say Vietnam's economy with possessive S. Both of them are okay, but you cannot combine the two of them together. So I recommend that you stick to one or stick to the other, or if you are at a higher level, maybe you keep both variants in mind, and one time you can use the adjective form and one time you can use the possessive noun to show the person who is grading your essay that you have mastery over both of these forms. And so the first problem the student has is a problem of punctuation. Now, I've talked about before, you have to write by hand and make your punctuation very clear. Your commas have to look like commas. Your full stops have to look like full stops. Now, in this case, the student is using the linking words such as, which are completely appropriate and correct in this case, but the student should really make sure that there's a comma before such as, right? And also the student made a little mistake using the word equipment, and the word equipment is a non-count mass noun, so it never takes the plural. But directly after that, the students connected one sentence to the next sentence with the word and I'm always telling my students to write shorter sentences when possible. The student wrote two great sentences. The student shouldn't connect them with the word and. The student should put the full stop and just capitalize the first word of the next sentence. Okay, and so that is all I really have to say about that essay. I thought it was quite good and easy to read. I felt the conclusion was a little bit weak, but not terrible. And so, in summary, I gave them a strong 6. And I think the student will probably, with a little more practice, do a lot better. So that's all I have to say about this essay. I invite you to come down to Excel Language School and check us out. We have classes every day of the week, and I hope to see you there soon. Bye-bye.
Excel Language School. A real passion for learning.